just dealing with the mount and the mount escapes no gi, which is vastly different to the gi, mainly because of the gi groups and the chokes and things like that as well. So we're going to have a look at the three majors, and I'm going to explain them as we go through. So this is the first one, and this is generally as people get to mount. So we're going to have a look at that. So Steve, jump up and mount to me. So the first one is that there's normally, they're sitting up a little bit. This is kind of designed more for him to take the kimuras, arm bars, try and get underneath my elbows, etc., etc. Right? The second one would be that once my elbows are flat, he'll drop chest to chest and he'll try and get the controller and smother and control me. You know, and the last one will be that he'll go for the submission kind of thing. So we're going to deal with the first stage of mount, and the thing that I like about when we spin around 180 is that we have a usable space. Right, so the contact point for me is either the knees or the hips, or the knees and the hips. So there's not much point me trying to push my partner backwards, because the connection point, which is the hips, still stays exactly as it is. The downfall about this is that anytime that I try and push, I expose the elbow, which is good for head arm chokes, arm bars, etc., etc. So what I like to do is I like to frame against the hips, and I want to kind of get as low to the hip line as I can, not the stomach line. If I'm on the stomach line, my elbows are exposed, which means he can push them, come under, etc. So I'm trying to get nice and low. What I also want to do, I'm going to spin around this one a bit, is if my locking mechanic is on this side, I want to try and get this elbow on the inside of the knee. I don't want it on the outside, I want it on the inside. The inside position wins. So how do I do it? I normally put my head on the ground, extend my arms and cycle my elbow to the inside. So slight detail. So my arms on the outside, which it generally is when we first start here, place my head on the ground. So I kind of have a friction point, but raise my hips a little bit, push, my elbow cycles on the inside. This means it's harder for him to pick it up. And if he does try to come underneath it, like underneath my armpits, there's a frame in the way. So if, as you can see, like when Steve does try to counter this, his weight generally goes forwards. So I'm going to aid him a little bit by nudging him from here. So nudge, and I trap on the outside, and I trap the arm in nice and good. My frame stays on the hips, so please don't take your elbow across. This is really good for Steve, really bad for me. So once again is I'll push the hip, elbow on the inside, nudge my partner round the outside grip from here. Now, if I bridge, I'm going to create space underneath my elbows for Steve to start to go high. So if I bridge, he can walk underneath me, and this is much better for him once again. It's one of the cardinal things I see is people think that bridging is the answer. It's not, don't bridge. Okay, so what I'm going to do from this is I'll look towards a trapped hand. I'm going to slowly extend my right leg, but I'm not bending my knee. So I'm not going here, I'm going here, extend. I'll put a little bit of pressure on the leg and I'll start to walk. Once I'm here, hip off. So try not to come all the way up and go back into the guard. Try and keep the hip and the knee pinned so I can start to escape from here. This is much better than bridge and rolling into their full guard. So I kind of want to pin the knee and hip and just try and get at it. Whether I get to half guard or quarter guard is irrelevant. I just don't want to go back to the full guard. Steve, back up again. A lot of details. So number one, inside position wins, head on the ground. Of course, if Steve holds my head and I try and push him backwards, I've got no space to move. So put my head on the ground. Little bridge, elbow on the inside, kick him, yes you can. TRG, palms together, lock it in, leg goes onto the cuff. So some of you guys are going to lift your knee because you're going to feel a little bit of pressure. It's not the goal of it, but you know, shit happens. Okay, so don't bridge, just walk, elbow pressure, elbow pressure, elbow pressure. I do like from hip to hip escape, start to try and come up to the top position. 1, 2, 3. The little details, come around this side, it's easier to see. Okay, so if Emma's hands are on the ground, right, anytime that I shoot to try and go an overhook, I'm putting myself into a kimura position. Sorry. But it's pretty much, so like, so if Emma's hands are on the ground, and like I meant, if anytime I'm going here, this is pretty much a kimura. Secondly is, anytime I'm going to here, I'm putting myself into the head arm position, arm bar position as well. Where if I'm working on the outside, it's quite hard for my partner to get the kimura because it's the wrong way. Secondly is that I'm breaking the frame structure down, where here I'm opening up the frame structure so she still has a post. So it's really important that I'm working on the outside on this one. Right. Second is, once I push on a cup, I'm going this way because I want my elbow to lever up. Anytime that my hand's the opposite way, my lever's working down. So I need this hand to be palm up, so I'm kind of like got my elbow through her chest to make her raise. If it's down by default, it's easier for my partner to put the weight on and manipulate my elbow. Next one is from here, and this is a really small detail, is I know that some people go towards the wrist, but I've exposed my elbow for the head arm choke, etc, etc. So I do want to capitalize on the middle of the joint, so one joint and two joints, and I want to kind of like snap the joint in half and pull it in. Right. So my partner will generally do what Emily's doing, where they kind of go, I'll put my weight on you, whatever like that. So the concept is, as I turn, my elbow that's underneath my partner raises, and that creates the space. So that's the kind of concept that we're doing. So I do need a little bit of space to be able to roll my partner over. Not a lot, just a little bit. Okay, second part. Okay, please, back. If my partner's sitting up, by default, their weight is on their knees and on my hips. I can't reach the arms. But like, I know I'm not going to be kind of like, oh, give me your arm, like, because this is good for them and not good for me. The downfall about it is that anytime that I nudge forward but I don't have a frame on the inside, they're going to go higher and it's going to be worse for me. So this is that little part where I go ahead and I go put this in place. So Emma can't come forward because my frame system is in the way. Whether she goes to deny or attack or remove the grip because her weight's going to come forward, I nudge. And what I like to do is I like to keep it backed up. Because a lot of time I go nudge, I go, holy shit, and they put their weight back again, and by the time I go to get this, I've missed it. So what I do like to do is when I do like to hit Emma in the bum, a lot. So now, if Emma tries to put her weight backwards, see how I've got this frame system? And she has to push off her hands to put backwards, which makes it really easy for me now to capitalize on the roll. So just a couple of little details in there as well. Once you put that wedge up their coccyx, their tailbone, whatever like that, they're going to push off their hands off the ground, which makes it really easy to grab the hands because they're locked onto the ground. Yep, okay, 1, 2, 3. The part that I like about Jiu-Jitsu is that there's no rules. Like it's kind of like, and there's a lot of variations on this. So I'm in the position, head on the ground, inside position, and I nudge my partner, get the frame, and that kind of goes, I know what's going on, step out with my leg. So as I try to roll, the downward base, anytime I try and roll, I give my arm exposure, back exposure, etc, etc. So if I recognize that I'm in the position from here and I see Emma's leg pop, one of the things that I want to do is I want to start to let go of the arm because this is better for her to attack my arm. I'm going to push the leg. I'm going to start to hip escape. So I don't have to catch the guard or the quarter guard. Biggest misconception, right, is so from here, I've done the trap, TRG, elbows on the inside from here, so just push. Now watch, walk my legs, elbows down, and now slide my hip that way and turn. If I keep turning, I can come up, and you will have the leg in the trap position. It's not a really good leg lock, to be honest, because it's on the wrong side, but it's a really good concept for me to keep the leg elevated and put my partner onto their back. So again, that was awkward. Okay. Strap, elbow on the inside position, steps up. Okay, so rescue and let it go. Stiff arm. They're generally trying to pry this arm off. Turn, hip slide, come up. So like I said, you do go to an ankle lock position. Generally, I don't have enough bites. You can go to like the steamer kind of style if you want to, or just use this mechanic to come underneath it and partner up. It's up to you guys what you want to do. If you want to have a shot at the steamer lock or the leg lock, have a shot at it. But for me, it's generally, I'm underneath mount. I want to get out of mount. If I fail this stem lock and leg lock, you're probably going to get back up on mounting, and I won't get a second opportunity as much to get out. Okay, change partners, 1, 2, 3. Scotty's got mount, and I've got my frame system, and he just goes, "You're the guy, I'm just going to crush her." So just drops his weight down on me. I'm like, man, you know, like, yeah, you can get the underhook if you want to, like get the overhook, whatever. And, you know, he goes cross face, underneath shoulder in my face, and, you know, like, and heads in my head, and squashing down. You can do it, it's okay, I can take this. And it's horrible. This is that one where, man, don't want to be here. So it's really important. This, I'm going to educate this in a second. So watch this. Yeah, you keep your weight. Okay, so number one is this. So I'm just cupping, and I don't want to come high. I want my elbow to be high, and I want to be on the hip, and I don't want to be on the knee. Think about it this way. It says, I start to drive my head in a little bit, so Scotty starts to put a bit of pressure, like at a cross face. Now, walk my leg this way, tap, sit up. It's one of the easiest escapes you're ever going to get from self-control when they have pressure. Right, so let's have a look at that. How'd that feel?
Yeah, very easy because I just use my force.
Yeah, exactly. So frame number one. So once we're here, it's on the hip and here. Right now, right, Scotty's even on me. So how can I get him that side? I go here a little bit. So he's going to drop his shoulder. When he drops his shoulder, see how his shoulders have turned now? So he's on that angle, he's not on this angle. So all I want to do is I want to block the hip. This is the most important part. So when I walk over, he can't move his leg because I'm here. The downfall is he can move his hand, right? So I need to block the arm as well. So what I want to do is I want to kind of go, man, so he goes cross face, you're not getting out. So I'm like, hey. So by the time he drops his elbow under so deep, he can't retract it. Now I keep my weight on my head, I don't bridge. So hold the hip, head to the ground, and just start to walk. Just walk, 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 walk. Come out. Now, my favourite. So just, it's such a unique thing to do. Anytime you bridge, you give them the opportunity to pull their frame systems out from underneath you. You've got to roll, right? So, and you've got to bait them to get that really strong cross face on you. And the part about it is, like, anyone that's good at jiu-jitsu is going to cross face you. They're going to put the cross face on. So it's, you're going to take 5 seconds of, you know, that little bit of pressure on your face, but it's just pressure to be able to then get out and return the favour. Do you know what I mean? So for me, this is one of the things that the core fundamentals is, I need to know is the absolute worst comes to worst is that they're going to go, what they're going to realise is getting rolled over, they're going to let go and give you space to go to a secondary escape anyway. So there's no downfall about this. Okay. Steve, jump back on, please. So for me, right, if I get caught and Steve dropped his weight down, my hand's on the bad side. Like I need my frame on the inside. So a little bit of a bridge here, and scroll my hand through, block, and trap. Got it? So now, as I'm pulling still, you don't normally go, oh, he wants to arm out that, so he's going to drop the hand in deeper and cross face me, and put the shoulder into my face, like, how dare you, you know? I'm right here. So the important thing is, I need to trap this neck. So what I'm doing is I'm putting my weight on. So it raises his hips a little bit. Now, if I bridge, he's just going to pull his leg straight out, and he can move around me. So I can't bridge. So the biggest thing is I need to trap it. So push the hip, so I'm pushing the hip down onto my leg, walk my leg, and just walk. Once we're here, push the hip and knee through. So you've got these options to kind of do whatever you want to do from here. Like, you know, you can go to leg lock, you can go to guard pass, you can go to knee bar. But the most common thing is they're going to try and stop the roll. They're not going to try and stop the guard pass. They're going to try and stop the roll. So their focus, I don't want to get rolled over. So they almost kind of go of you to stop the roll over, which gives you the ability to start to pass guard or to attack them. 1, 2, 3. Right. This is, I'll show you 2 variations. And it'll be basically what's happened to you and where you get caught. So frame system from here, Emma comes over the top, cross faces from here, and gets elbow to, okay. So I want to go that way, but sometimes what happens is her shoulders turn my head this way. which is a really bad. So, you know, like I want to roll this way, but you know, the cross faces kept me on the bad side. So I want to do exactly the same thing. And this is kind of like I'm going to moonwalk, I guess, is the best kind of concept on it, or the Homer Simpson. Okay, so from here, so what I do is I start to turn my hips so that my knees are facing this way, but I start to walk backwards. And I'm still going to get the same result. So I see a lot of time that just because our driver or our head is faced the wrong way, so like, you know, I'm in here and then we just go, you know, like boom, like, you know, massive cross facing, my head's, and I can't turn that way. So what I see if I can do is I try and get rid of this, but I'll give her space to come up underneath, you know, which is bad. So I do want to keep the hips pinned. I'll face right. So what I do is I should turn this way even more. Right, so my knees are facing this way. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bunny hop. So I take my foot and bunny hop onto here. I now just rotate my knees. Block the hip, hip escape, start to come out. So that would be the worst case scenario. Like, it takes a little while to get the concept behind that, because everyone wants to go, you know, or like go back a way, turn your head. So that's the first one. That took me a long while to kind of get the concept of. But it's a bunny hop onto the leg to roll them over. That's the hardest part. Once you get that, everything else is jammed. This is the next part, and if you follow the guidelines, this makes a lot of sense. And it'll stop kind of some of those ones that like, why does it work sometimes and why doesn't it work the other times? Okay, so Emma's back up on Mount. Blocked it out here. Okay, so what I'm here is I want the hips pinned to my hips. So anytime that my leg's long, Emma can keep her leg long as well. And now I can't walk over because she's pinning my knee from stopping turning. So the counter would be that Emma just drops her leg. And now I can't turn because I'm a cylinder. So what I want to do is when I'm here is I'm not pushing yet, I'm just stopping her from coming forward. Now, if she straightens her leg, so she's got to almost come forward to straighten her leg, which is what helps me roll her over. So don't go push, 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 push. Oh man. So we kind of go frame system to stop her coming forward. And that goes on. TRG, and you're going to find that this is so much easier to do. So I'm not pushing her down yet, I'm just stopping her from coming forward. I then use my leg. That will generally make them drive forward because I want to get the leg out. And once I start driving forward, that's a key indicator to start to roll them over. Let's have a quick shot at those two guys. 1, 2, 3. And I've got my frame system put in. Emma goes heavy crossface, I'm like wicked, but she ends up kind of getting almost like the grapevine on me, you know, and this can be a pain in the butt. So I deal with this 2 ways. My knees are often quite weak, old man knees, so I don't have the strength to try and out-strengthen them. So first thing I do is, on the side I want to roll them, I straighten that leg. Right, so she's going to kind of go, I've got the lockdown. Secondly, my other leg is just, now I can do this 1 of 2 ways. I generally go, my leg goes dead straight, hook over her foot and bring the foot in. So her leg's caught. And now, just roll my hip onto her leg and come over. And I've got very bony hips, so I kind of dig straight into the, like almost like a cork, which is fantastic for me. Not so good for Emma, but fantastic for me. So again, so the issue that I see with the grapevine is a lot of time people kind of go, I stretch my legs out, and they go, haha, and they beat me to the inside position again. You know, and they're playing this game the whole time. It's like I'm carrying them as weight. You know, she's very light, by the way. She's awesome. So put your leg flat. So if she tries to read grapevine, it's harder to do. Put your leg flat, cross over, hook it. Now, the weirdest thing is, a lot of people try and re-grip the grapevine with the other leg, but because it's off on the angle, but can you see which way Emma's hips are moving? So watch. I turn my knee to the ground slowly. Puts pressure on the leg, hit the hips, and start to escape.
You try to come in the back so that it doesn't turn into a bit of a dog fight here with the guards.
They come here, Scotty. They can't dogfight me
No.
because the hips and knees pinned to the ground. So grapevine. Once again, so grapevine, and I'm not. I won't use my hands. So the grapevine. So first things first is put my legs flat to the ground. So it's harder. Move my leg in, come over top. Now scoop it and here. And then a lot of times I just roll my knee to the ground. There's no grapevine because there's no fight because I'm on the leg. Right. Yeah. And then, so I'm not going to come because this makes it an even fight. He can overhook. Yeah, you know, like so my thing is I retract as far as I can, and you know, like for me, like I have the top position. As long as I keep the legs, I'm in the ability to start to attack my power. I've got the top position. Try not to push because this gives them an asset or a grip where they can underhook, overhook, dog fight, whizzer, etc. I don't want to go back into a fair fight. So the more that I'm here, the more that his hips are pinned to the ground, the more that I'm going to have the ability to come up on top and at least get my sweet points. Yeah. Okay guys, drink break, 1, 2, 3.